Hello and welcome to the Brandon podcast series. I'm delighted to be joined by Jim Thomson. Jim is the owner of Thomson Print Packaging, a family-owned folding carton converter based just outside of Edinburgh in Scotland. Jim, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Before we start having a look at what you guys are up to, how you fared over the last 18 months or so, it's fair to say one of your larger industry areas for Thomson Print and Packaging is the whisky industry. So just give us a little bit of overview as to what's happening and really what's happening in that whisky market.
Well, the past year has been probably difficult due to the COVID situation. And we've found a lot of the bottling halls were starting to shut down March, April last year. And it was only come August that things were starting to move forward again. But for whatever reason, the markets are extremely buoyant. I don't know if people are drowning their sorrows of what's going on in the world, but the Far East, Asia, America are now starting to kick in. And there's also a lot of new developments going on. A lot of people trying to bring out something new, and cask bottlings are really starting to come to the fore. We supply a lot of cask bottlers, and they have been completely buoyant during this time because the cost of whiskey, nobody really wants to buy a standard bottle of whiskey now. People want to buy something that's got special that they can link into. And that's why we found that the cask bottlers, particularly the family-owned businesses, are doing extremely well.
And Jim, do you think that, when you look at what's happened in, for example, the gin markets, there's all these boutique brands, everything is to do with the packaging. Do you think that the Scotch whisky industry has had a bit of a knee-jerk reaction in that they're needing to do more to put their name back out there? I mean, it's all about the packaging and the presentation.
Well, very much so. And we've noticed one of our own clients, they bought a small company, Edinburgh Gin, and they have now started to market it in a much wider audience, and it's now onto television advertising, and they are actually starting to really bring gin up to the same levels as some of their whiskey brands. And it's a lot quicker to get into the gin market nowadays, and there's such a wide range of gins, from the single, let's say, homestead distiller to some of the bigger companies. But I don't think the very large companies see gin as a brand, a main brand. It has to be, again, specialized.
And Jim, the interesting thing with some of these smaller, as you say, the homestead type distilleries, they can still use packaging to really accelerate the awareness of the brand. So obviously, packaging now is probably more important than it was before.
Well, yes, very much so. So whether it be the label, the bottle, people are trying to bring out something that's specialized. And if you look at some of the big brand leaders, they're in standard packaging. Some don't have it cartons, but it's a small independents that are trying to put something specialized into the market and make it more interesting, a bit like the cask bottlers on whiskey.
And Jim, if we now put the focus more on your own company, obviously I know you've been in the industry for probably what feels like an eternity.
An eternity, yes.
Yeah. An awful lot of experience with companies such as Field and Waste. Obviously you made the transition and set up your own business 20 plus years ago. The last 18 months or so must have been quite a bumpy old ride. How did you guys fare?
Well, believe it or not, it was quite quiet last April, May time when COVID started to kick in. And we did have to put on some of our staff on furlough. But there was still a lot of developments going on with people working from home on new projects. And they started kicking in round about August when the bottling halls started going back. And I can tell you, Dan, since September last year, we've never been as busy in the 23 years of our existence. Things have just gone absolutely bananas. Now we have this, the biggest problem for us at the moment is getting raw materials. And we've had to, for instance, when we started the business, we were a label supplier, and that was about 98% of our turnover. It's now down to 40% of our turnover as we've developed into the carton sector and supplying a wide range of products that link into drinks. But the main staple supplier of label paper went bust this year in Germany. And we've been searching around to find new suppliers. The problem for us is we've had to buy in 3 months stock at a time because they're coming from places like Italy.
And you were talking there about obviously the supply chain issue. I mean,
Yeah,
all
sure.
industry sectors are finding difficulty in raw material supplies. Interestingly, you've been investing over the last 6-8 months or so, and I understand you put in a new Gietz foiling line. So, give us some of the background as to that latest investment and how it's going to help your business.
Well, we've always had good foiling capacity within our business, but we decided some 6-7 years ago to put in a sheet-fed large format foil blocker, and we bought in our first Gietz from Switzerland. In fact, my son went over to do some training before we put in the first machine. And foil blocking and embossing has just grown as we've developed into the carton sector. So we decided about 4 years ago, to put in a Chinese large format foil blocker. But unfortunately, that didn't work out well because we didn't have the same support as we did on the Gietz side. So in August, we decided again to review the whole situation, and we put in a large format Gietz press with high pile delivery, which is really suitable for folding cartons.
And what's the reaction been from the marketplace? Because obviously with the latest technology, you're seeing probably reduction in run lengths, I'm sure, on
Yes.
some of your orders. So obviously setup time is critical. You want to minimize your waste, effectively zero fault packaging. So how have the customers reacted to this latest edition?
Very positively. I mean, we've part of our bottleneck as we've developed, particularly in the last year in the carton sector, is we were struggling to meet all the demand from our clients. So that's why we had to invest pretty quickly in something that was more a machine that would give us a higher throughput on the carton side. So our clients are actually delighted now, and we have 1, 2 or 3 new contracts on the carton side that we're quite comfortable. We've always been a supplier that's delivered in 2 to 3 weeks from order. Now, that's where we've won a lot of business from some of the larger groups, and that's what we've continued to do. And our second Gietz has brought us right into that.
And on a practical level, Jim, I mean, obviously, with the COVID lockdown and the difficulty of getting engineers, etc., how did they handle the installation? Was it sort of partially a remote install? Because obviously you guys are experienced with Gietz equipment. Was it very much a collaboration between you and your engineers and the team at Gietz?
The team at Gietz obviously have a UK company of engineers that we've dealt with for many years in the past. So yeah, they actually came up and they had to work within our COVID procedures, and it only took us 3 days for the install, and then we had some more training after that. But it was very, very quick, and we're very fortunate in one sense because the Gietz was sitting right next to the one of our factory open doors, and it was a lot easier to get in.
Very good. Well, Jim, thank you so much indeed. It's been fantastic catching up with you. Glad to hear that the new equipment's in and running smoothly. So we wish you all the best for the coming months and years. Jim Thomson, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dan. Okay, goodbye.